Hey everyone, it's been a little while since we last posted a video, but we're really glad to be back. While strength matters in climbing, at its core, this sport is about movement. Small body adjustments and subtle shifts in positioning can completely change how a move feels, sometimes turning an impossible move into something that feels completely effortless. In this video, I want to break down a route that Akane worked on and show how a single body adjustment made a huge difference. That one small change simplified the move, helped her work around her shorter reach, and this meant she didn't have to rely as much on her strength. Let's take a look at this video, and thank you for watching. Blacksmith V9 is a classic long boulder problem at Stoneford in Chattanooga, Tennessee. The climb is made up of relatively good edges along with some small, sharp crimps and crimp rails, but it doesn't feel easy once you're on it. The difficulty really shows up when you start making those shoulder-intensive moves and the long reaches, which can feel especially powerful if you have a shorter span. Good foot technique is essential on this climb. Precise heel hooks, controlled drop knees, and small shifts in body position make a huge difference. When you watch Akane on these moves, you'll notice how smooth it looks, but the smoothness comes from a lot of micro adjustments she figured out while working the problem. Since Blacksmith is a fairly long boulder, there were many small details and lessons we picked up along the way. But in this video, I want to focus on the middle section, specifically the micro adjustment and techniques Akane had to dial in to compensate for her shorter reach and to climb the route in a more efficient, less power dependent way. To give you a closer look at the boulder problem, here is a close-up of the holds. The climb starts on flat edges, then moves into slightly slopey holds and pockets. After that, you get onto smaller edges and make a shoulder-intensive Gaston move into the corner-shaped hold. From here, you hit a few small crimps before transitioning into the crimp rail section, where the flat crimps feel relatively good as long as your feet are placed well. Then, on the upper wall, the holds turn into smaller, sharper crimps before you top out the boulder. Let's take a closer look at this middle section of the route, one of the cruxes. Watching Akane on these moves, it might not even look like the hardest part of the route, but behind the scenes, it took her some time to find the optimal body position, shortening her reach and using less power, which allowed her to make the moves more efficiently. Now let's check out some of her attempts at this move. To get to this middle section, she has to climb a series of small sequences with moderate difficulty. Nothing overly powerful, but hitting this crux where she has to make a long, powerful reach. Notice here that in her first attempt, she can't quite make the move. This beta requires a lot of power and doesn't optimize her shoulder reach. As she tries to grab the hold, her heel comes off. Next, look at her alternative beta. Pay attention to her left foot. She places her heel to get into the position, then switches to her toe, trying to reach statically. She barely touches the hold, and it's still a very powerful move. She's locking off on her right hand, but she's getting closer. Now watch this. She tries the same move again, but this time she moves her right foot up, stabilizes her body, brings her hip closer to the wall, and gets a drop knee. This allows her to reach more dynamically, using much less power, and she can finally do the move. Eventually, Akane decided to use this dynamic drop knee technique for the crux. Let's take a final look at the crux move, along with the comparison video. Here, you can also see how I was able to reach the same hold with just a heel placement. Let's define the drop knee technique, which is a technique that increases your reach by rotating your hip towards the wall and lowering your knee. This allows your hand on the same side to reach the next hold with greater stability. A backstep technique is when you turn your body sideways and use the outside of your shoes to press against the vertical surface. This technique increases your reach, helping you grab holds that feel too high or too far when you stay square to the wall. Let's take a look at the drop knee as well as backstep techniques in the following video, where Akane climbs a classic route called Jerry's Skids at Stoneford. As you'll notice, instead of staying square to the wall when reaching for the next hold, she rotates her hip towards the wall by using a drop knee. This stabilizes her body and gives her extra reach to the next hold. In another example on the same route, Akane relies on a backstep rather than a very clear drop knee. She turns her hip towards the wall and uses the outside edge of her shoe to press against the foothold, which stabilizes her body and allows her to reach the next hold. I've selected a few videos from indoor and outdoor bouldering routes where she uses these techniques effectively. These videos show how she relies on these techniques to reach farther. Pay close attention to her footwork and how the drop knee technique allows her to move efficiently and complete the route successfully. We hope you find this video useful, and thank you for watching and supporting this channel. We really appreciate it.